Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of June 22nd through the 28th. And during that time, we will have a waning crescent moon, and that's a good time for surrender, rest, and healing. A good time to just let go and get yourself mentally prepared for the new cycle ahead. We then move into the new moon, which could come in on the 25th or 26th, depending on where you are. And of course, that is a really good time for a fresh start, new beginning, good time to start a new skill or new projects, or to make some new decisions. So please keep those moon energies in mind as you move through the week. This will be, excuse me, an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter, Sagittarius. So, of course, please keep that in mind. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading, your dreams need a practical plan. Okay, Sagittarius, let's see what you guys have going on for the week. Let me grab a drink here real quick. I feel like I'm over my summer cold, but still a little bit of my nose there. So glad to get that done at the beginning of the summer, if it's going to be a summer cold season this year. Nothing more miserable than being fevery and yucky in the heat. Sagittarius, since my readings are free to you, all I ask in return is that you hit the subscribe button there at the bottom of your screen. It really helps my channel, kind of helps with the algorithm and pushing my videos out there. It's a super easy for you to do. So I will give you just a moment as I'm shuffling to do that right now. Thank you so much. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you for coming back and helping me build a community here. I really do appreciate that. So thank you so much. All right, my weekly reminder this week, Sagittarius, is that you get out and enjoy nature this week. You know, this could be just take a hike somewhere, maybe take a walk in the woods if it's a little warm, nice shady wooded path. Find a park or an area that has a really lovely view. If you're around water, take the time to appreciate that. The rest of us that don't live near the ocean, if you do, the rest of us are a little jealous. So make sure you're out there listening to those waves for the rest of us. But if you're around a lake or a creek, somewhere where you can, hear some water moving, that's very relaxing. Maybe study an animal or a tree or a plant or even mushrooms. I find that the mushroom population it's just the strangest thing. If you've never been down the rabbit hole of studying about mushrooms, there's a really good documentary that Paul Stamets did. I think it's on Netflix, but my gosh, it's just so interesting. It's so fascinating. And it's really made me just pay attention to the mushroom culture on our property where we are and what's in the woods and what's growing. It just opened your eyes to a whole world that you didn't even really realize existed. So, we've gotten to the point here too where we're trying to manifest mushrooms in certain spots, and we have done it, and it's been very interesting and fun. I don't know why I'm telling you this, Sagittarius, but get out in nature. It is fascinating. That is my advice for the week. So, all right, without further ado, Sagittarius, June 22nd through the 28th. Your dreams need a practical plan. Let's see what you guys have going on. All right, maybe your dreams are involving some financial stability, because that's the card of the four here of Pentacles. So is that on your mind right now? Are you thinking about your stability and in the way of finances? So, if you have dreams about being, more stable financially, then they do need a practical plan. I think I just did a reading for, maybe it was Scorpio, about no, it wasn't Scorpio. Wait, let me see here. A reading here for, it was for Libra. Their reading was definitely about finances too. So yours may not be at all about that, but if you have a Libra in your life, you may want to go cross watch that reading, because it was definitely about, but making a financial plan and being financially stable. All right. And your current situation is the Knight of Cups. So it looks like you are having some sort of action in the emotional realm, and it doesn't look like crazy emotions. It's very kind of calm and steady emotions, and actually positive with the cup here. So, but some sort of, maybe some emotional thing is driving you kind of towards this stability. This could be, this could be something new in your life. This could be a new relationship in your life. This could be a new, this could be having a child in your life. It's, there's something that you're kind of emotionally connected to that's making you think, okay, I just want things to be a little bit more stable. So, that happens with parenthood, that happens with relationships, that happens, as life changes in certain ways. It may be, um, that your life is just changing in some way. It's a little bit emotional, but it's kind of making you question and really kind of focus on that stability. At the root of your situation is justice. So this could be, yeah, some sort of truth that is coming through for you. This is a card of perfect order. This can be, a card of equilibrium, balance. It's definitely a card about, yeah, balance. So, and maybe it is about kind of balancing your finances in some way. Okay, let's keep going and see what that, but yeah, some sort of truth there that's just kind of pushing you maybe towards some change. In your recent past is the world card, and there's another card of balance. So there's something about, the theme of balance for you that, maybe that's just kind of at the forefront of your mind this week, is that you're just kind of thinking about, you've got these, the scales here, the justice scales of balance here on this justice card. The world card is definitely about perfect balance and being, in a place where your dreams are materialized, things are just happening. And so it could be that you're just recognizing the balance that you have in the world, and you just want to balance things out with your financial stability. So what is on your mind this week is, okay, the Nine of Swords. So something, some sort of ending or some sort of stress, and it's a little bit on your mind. It could just be, again, some sort of change, some sort of emotional change that you're going through, and it's okay. Like, it looks like everything's good. You're concerned about the balance of things and how and how things will balance out, but I think you're going to be just fine. Let's see where your cards go here. In your immediate future right now is, yeah, definitely on your mind here is the Ten of Pentacles. Here is another, this is about wealth and security and about long term. Um, and so that's kind of, that's in your future. That's what you're thinking about this, or, you're kind of stressed about it, but that's in your future, so you just make your plan and stick to it. It's kind of in the same situation, like I said, that Libra had, is that you just really need to, come up with a plan that seems balanced for you and work towards it. It's about moving towards a goal. It doesn't happen overnight. You'll get there. You're going to be just fine. In your advice position is the Judgment card. So, a few major arcana here coming out for you, Sagittarius. This is big for you. It's a big week of, and this is either you making a judgment about something or making a judgment about yourself, about your situation. This could be you judging someone else also. I hope not, but this is about coming to some sort of new awareness, and probably within yourself. And your advice is that that's okay. It's okay to let that new awareness wash over you. Again, you're in kind of a balanced place. You've got some pretty big things on your mind, this week, and it looks like it does appear to be in kind of the financial realm, but your emotions are definitely tied up in it. But and it's okay to make those judgments. It's okay to, um, this is kind of a new awareness of something that's going on with you that maybe you weren't aware of before. That's really what judgment is like kind of just seeing things change, and it changes your mind, right? So, and this, because it's in your advice position, it's almost saying it's okay. It's okay to have that judgment. It's okay to change your mind. Things aren't what you maybe thought they might be. Let's continue here. What is beyond your control is the Ace of Cups, and this is just an outpouring of emotion and an outpouring of your heart. There's something, whatever this is something you're very, very emotional about. And I don't really suggest tying in your emotions with your finances, but sometimes things do get stressful. Things do get to a place where, and if you, here's the deal, if you need to make changes and it's some sort of emotional thing, you have to make those changes, and you have to, look down the road and say, okay, I can make this, and it might not happen overnight. Again, it's a thing that happens gradually, but you set goals and you work towards them. That's just how life is for all of us. What is your secret desire? What you're trying to avoid is the Chariot. So is it your secret desire to have some sort of movement, or are you trying to avoid some sort of movement? It's almost like you're collecting the information that you need. Are you collecting this information to make a move, or are you collecting this to not make a move? And that's going to be your big question is, do you want to change how things are, or do you not want to make any changes? So that's kind of what the Chariot represents movement, but not yet. It's almost like getting ready to make a move. But that's your big question is that your secret desire to make a big move, or are you trying to avoid that? What is in your outcome position is kind of feeling like an outsider here with the Six of Pentacles. Very interesting that that should come out with all of these other pentacles that have come out. So stability, long-term growth, but also feeling a little bit like an outsider. And I almost, when it comes to the financial realm, first, I feel like you are letting your emotions get involved in this. And I can understand where certain situations might make you do that, but you almost need to separate those two. The way I think about money is like a river. There's a flow to it, right? It ebbs and flows. Sometimes that river's deep and wide. Sometimes there's a drought and it's down to a trickle. And it's like, if you know that, you prepare for those drought times. And we know when things are very abundant, you prepare for that. You kind of hold back, and you don't just spend all your money because you have money in your pocket. And I feel like that's kind of what you're learning right now, but try not to tie your emotions to it. I feel like you're putting a lot of emotional energy into something that is just material. It's just material. And the more you kind of think about it, things in a negative way, the more negative you get. So you're really going to have to work this week to kind of keep that positive attitude. Look at this perfect balance you're coming in with, you've come in this Justice card. That's the root of all of this, is try to maintain that balance. Don't let your emotions get so caught up in the material that it affects the material, because it can affect that in a negative way. What is hidden from you this week is your inner strength. So this is what you're going to need to call upon to get through it. Whatever this thing, I do feel like, again, you're tying your emotions really deeply in, and maybe for really good reason, but and I almost want to say, kind of feel your emotions and then let's get over it and let's move on. There's just kind of that tough love thing, like, yeah, that's great. I'm sorry that's the way you feel. Now let's get to work. Let's move on. So think about that, and think about, again, go ahead and be in your feels for a little bit, but then just let that go, let it go, and come up with a practical plan. That's the way you get through the material things in life, through things that involve money and material things, and your where you live, and the things around you. That's all about having a practical plan. And what do you really need when you really get down to it? What all of us need is really so simple, really. um don't compare yourself to others. Don't let comparison be the thief of joy. Don't feel like an outsider because, your friend over there makes more money than you, or is able to do things that you're not able to do. It's all going to balance out. There's reasons for all of that, if that makes sense to you. But you can't get stuck in that negative thought pattern too, because that also affects your material. You need to be balanced and just open to what the universe is going to bring to you. All right, somebody needed to hear all of that. Let's see here. Soul Oracle deck says, admit your vulnerabilities. Okay, very interesting here. Look at the house is on fire and there's just water flowing. Is it flowing in? Is it flowing out? What is happening here? It's okay. The water is definitely those emotions, and what can you do in that? Can you use that watery emotion to put that fire out? Maybe. And you're probably going to need to. Again, I feel like, your emotions are coming in so strong. Don't let that get the better of you, because that can get in the way of how you manifest the material. All right, another card here. Embrace your power, of which you have. Look, you have this amazing power to sit. This is the This is the final card here in the major arcana, and this is perfect balance. This is like the end of the journey. This is like getting to the end of something and being like, oh, I just hear like, the angels singing. This is your dreams materialize, things coming true. Make sure you remember how to sit in that balance, because that's definitely in your recent past. Don't let yourself get caught up in any kind of anxiety or emotions about that. So all right, Sagittarius, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really do appreciate your time. I hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use. Again, try to find your inner strength that's hidden from you this week, and get in that perfect balance. Look, that seems like that's where you want to live, and that's where you just come out of. Let's try to maintain that instead of giving into the stress and the anxiety and the emotions of whatever it is that you're going through. So this could be tarot's a template. It could be in different areas of your life. You'll know which area when you hear this reading. So anyway, thank you so much for being here today. I do post readings every week. So please come back next week and we'll see if this situation continues or if there's something totally new here for you. Also, if you like my reading style, of course, please hit that like button down there and maybe the subscribe button too. It really helps my channel. Most importantly, it'll help you find me next week. So, Sagittarius, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.